Hi students, I am Deepak Bhabur from New Catholic Mission School, Jhabwa. I welcome you to this English class. Students of 10th class, today we are going to deal with a lesson. It is a third lesson from supplementary. Dear students, the name of the lesson is Footprints Without Feet. You can understand the name of the book also, the same title and the same lesson we are going to study today. It is written by Herbert George Wells. He is the author of this chapter. So, further let us go through the introduction part of this lesson. You can see the picture, footprints without feet. Person is not there, only clothes are hanging. Of course, a person is there in the clothes, but then he is invisible. So this whole chapter is about invisible, about the person who wanted to take advantage for a certain purpose. What was it? Let us study and try to understand it. Introduction says this story is about a scientist. Yes, no doubt scientists, they can experiment such things and they can discover, or invention also they can do, but then they discovers how to make himself invisible. Okay, scientists, they are always trying to find out, trying to discover certain medicine, certain things, that how a person can not be seen. As he was afraid of being discovered in London, because this person was afraid of being discovered or being found in London, so he intended to have certain medicine where he had committed some crimes. Why? One question is there, why he was afraid, or he was afraid of what? He runs away to a remote village, and however he runs out of money. And resorts to robbery using his advantage of invisibility. Dear students, this person, he did not want others to see as a man. Why? Because he was a criminal. He was a criminal. He did something, some mistake which was unforgettable, and therefore he kept on running or kept on escaping from police. Therefore he went to this place because there are no official people or village people. They don't bother about a stranger, whoever is there, they don't bother. So this person has certain understanding. Let me go and recite there. Okay, using his advantage, he did great things. He did not great things, but then he theft or he stole many things. Why? Because he was running short out of money. He did not have money to survive. About author, let us see. Herbert George Wells was an English writer. No doubt he was an English writer, prolific in many genres. He wrote dozens of novels. And short stories and works of social commentary, history, satire, biography and autobiography. These things he had written. His work also included 2 books on recreational war games. Okay, born 21st September 1866, Bromley High Street, London, United Kingdom. This place is London and it is in United Kingdom. Died 13 August 1946. The Regent's Park, London, United Kingdom. There he died. Full name Herbert George Wells. His movies, the famous movies like Things to Come, The Time Machine, War of the Worlds, short stories like The Red Room, The Country of the Blind, The Star. These are the famous tasks he completed. About the character, see the chapter includes certain characters like Griffin. He is the eccentric scientist. Eccentric scientist means a person who keeps on experimenting something, who makes himself invisible, and he wanted to make himself invisible. He does not hesitate to resort to criminal activities to remain a mystery. Mrs. Hall, she is a resolute but superstitious. This lady, resolute, but then also she has a type of superstition. Okay, honor of the inn at Iping where Griffin stays. Mr. Jeffers, he is a dutiful policeman who fails to arrest the invisible scientist. Invisible scientist, this person is invisible scientist, and when he gets a message about this scientist that he had done some robbery and some things. So he came there, but then he was not able to arrest this scientist. Main points of the chapter we are going to discuss now here. Two boys see footprints in the street. First of all, chapter begins like this. Two boys were there playing in the street and they noticed footprints. Okay, in the street they see fresh muddy footprints because that man came from muddy area of bare feet. He was not wearing shoes or chappal. On the steps of a house without finding who was making them. Though children, both of them were playing outside, they had the sense, they could see, but still they were not able to notice, they were not able to find out who was making those footprints outside of the house. Further on, the footprints disappeared. Further on, they saw then footprints were not found. These footprints had made by Griffin, an eccentric scientist who had discovered how to make his body transparent. This person, he was eccentric scientist, and he found out that how he can make his body transparent. He could only be seen with the other clothes he was wearing. Yes, when he wears clothes, he could be seen. But when he does not wear clothes, he is invisible. Griffin, a lawless person, here at the same time he is also a lawless person, was having criminal bent of mind, no doubt. He was having certain ideas in his mind, like criminal ideas. Wherever he goes, he intends to robber, he intends to steal something. A lawless person, it doesn't have respect for anything. He set fire to his landlord's house to take revenge against him for trying to throw out him. He was working here. Landlords. He was not working, but he was staying. And anyhow, he was unable to pay rents. And therefore, the landlords threw him out. Means he asked him to leave the house. At the same time, he made his mind to take revenge, and he set fire to his landlord's house, burnt everything, and he had to run away from the house, though his clothes were burning, and he had to strip, he had to remove his clothes. To get away, he had to remove his clothes, so that he became invisible. At the same time, he took the dose, or he took the medicine to become invisible, and he became invisible. He was a homeless wanderer in London without clothes or money during winter. Winter is a time where we experience a lot of cold, or we experience thorough cold, or which is unbearable. Okay, and at the same time he is not having clothes. So you can imagine how would he survive without clothes and without shelter. Food also, there was no food. In such situation, he plans out to find out shelter, clothes and everything. Dear students, escape of Griffin. After escaping, what did he do? We need to understand it. Griffin managed to escape from the two keen boys. You can understand keen boys. Two boys were very much curious to know who was making footprints outside of the house, and after footprints, they were also not visible, disappearing. Observation and entered unseen into a big store to get warm. Okay, this person, he entered, who? Eccentric scientist or Mr. Griffin. He entered a big house in order to escape from cold, and he wanted to make his body warm. After the store was closed at night, because this store, where hotel was running, and people come to eat breakfast and all food, and throughout the day he was hiding there. But then when the store was about to close, he remained in the house itself, and shutter was closed. Griffin put on some new clothes there, and then he put on some new clothes, consumed meat and coffee from the restaurant in the store, and went to sleep on a pile of quilts. He was in a good, comfortable place. He wished to do, and he slept. It is said that he overslept, and only woke up when the shop had opened. When shop had opened, and he woke up, because he had to woke up earlier, but he did not care for that. And shopkeeper came, and he woke up. The assistant had arrived. On being seen and chased by them. When assistants and shopkeeper, they came, and he was chased by this assistants and shopkeeper. He again took off his clothes. He had to took off his clothes, because he was hiding from people. He should not be seen by others, because we know in the introduction part he was a criminal. He did some wrong things. Because of that, he was about to be arrested by police, so that they could not see him. Okay. Griffin had a theatrical company. Here there was a company, and he happened to go to that company. And what did he do there? Then Griffin entered a theatrical company, which gave items used in place. Okay. There he wore bandages to outline his face. This company provides some bandages to wear. Okay, bandages to put on his body. So he did. He covered his face with the help of bandages. Dark glasses, he wore specs or dark glasses, a false nose, and he need to use false nose also, a bushy side whiskers. These things he used to cover his body. He robbed the shopkeeper of his money and escaped to a village away from London to avoid being caught. See, because of this criminal act, he had to run away from that particular place. And where did he go? He went to a village, because as I told you, villages, they do not care for the strangers, they don't bother. So he got a good and safe place to hide himself. Dear students, Griffin arrives at Iping village, the name of the place, Iping village. Griffin booked 2 rooms, though he was a single person, but he booked 2 rooms. What was his purpose behind booking 2 rooms? At the inn belonging to Mrs. Hall in the village Iping, this is the person, Mrs. Hall. She is the owner of that particular house where he booked 2 rooms. He explained to her, of course, before booking 2 rooms, you have to explain the purpose and the plan. Why you are staying here, how many days and how many months you are taking or booking 2 rooms, what is your purpose? So he explained that he had an accident and did not want to be disturbed. This was his explanation. As Mrs. Hall tried to be social with him, and this lady, poor lady, she was a social human being or social being. Soon his money was finished, and so he robbed a clergyman's house by using his invisibility. He was running with a short of money. He used all his money, he spent, and now he was left without money. So he intended to rob whom? Clergyman's house. And how did he rob it? Using his invisibility. The next point says Mrs. Hall enters Griffin's room. She is the owner of the 2 rooms. She enters Griffin's room. That same day, when Mrs. Hall found Griffin's room open with his bandages and clothes lying around, this lady observed and she noticed his rooms were very dirty, because everywhere things were lying on the floor, like bandages and clothes, some other things, they were lying on the floor. She noticed. She and her husband entered the room because she found something unusual, and they wanted to know what is happening in the roof of the same house or under the roof of the same house. So they wanted to know. Suddenly both of them were attacked by the furniture. They entered, both of them, and both of them were attacked by furniture being flung at them. Furnitures, they were, we can say, flung towards them and at them, but they could not see who was doing this. One thing was sure, that they could not find out who was doing these things. Mrs. Hall felt that the furniture was haunted by spirits, because we know she was already superstitious. Being superstitious, she could think that furnitures were haunted by spirits or evil spirits were. So, as she could not see Griffin, and she could think in the same manner or same way, because Griffin, the person who was booked 2 rooms, he was not present in the rooms. So she could think in this way. Dear students, the other point says Griffin becomes invisible and escapes from Iping. Here also, he happened to escape from the same room because of his wrongdoing, or he did some mistakes. When the clergyman reported the burglary means theft. Okay, he reported to the policeman. Most people in the village felt that the strange scientist had a hand in it. Most people in the village felt, what did they feel? That the strange scientist had a hand in it. People became aware. They were confirmed, or they were very much sure that this mistake or this theft had been committed by the eccentric scientist. Now they became sure because he paid his due rent. He was pending, or we can say this rent was pending. He paid all the money. So they can easily think, where did he get plenty of money in a short period? So they were sure. Whereas earlier he was not able to do so. People said that earlier he was not able to do so, but now within a few days he paid due rents. So Mr. Jeffers, the village police constable, was called to arrest Griffin on suspicious. They suspected, and on the basis of suspicion, village constable, he was called to arrest him. Meanwhile, Mrs. Hall asked Griffin to explain all the unusual happenings. Meanwhile, police arrived. He was asked by this lady, you explain, all unusual happened. Meanwhile, you are staying here, or while you are staying here, he started removing his clothes. This person, eccentric scientist, he started removing his clothes. Even Jeffers could not catch someone who could not see. He was knocked unconscious by the invisible man who escaped. Dear student, let us also know about the moral of this lesson, because story goes on, explanation goes on, but what is the moral of this lesson? A genuine scientist works for the good of humanity. This is the task or work or intention of a genuine scientist. What? For the good of humanity. He believes in making human lives more comfortable. Scientist has the understanding or the level of sense. He wants to make the people life more comfortable, easier and pleasurable. He does not misuse his inventions for his selfish motive or personal gains. Whereas throughout the lesson, eccentric scientist, he did not have all these qualities. He was doing for his own benefit, for his own advantages. However, Griffin, despite being a brilliant scientist, no doubt he was a brilliant scientist. No scientist can do such great things, but he did it. Misused his discovery. He discovered it could have been used for the welfare of society or for the development of society, but then he used for his own advantages. Using his discovery, he made him invisible and started to trouble his landlord. First of all, he committed a mistake towards his landlord. Rob clothes and money, steal food and wine, all this for his own advantages. His misuse of his discovery only disturbed peace and created havoc, hodgepodge, and mayhem in the society. Such scientists who make use of their inventions for avenging others, ending up being lawless people. Dear students, at the end of the lesson, I would like to ask you questions. How do you use your extraordinary skills or talents in order to help society or this country? With this, I request you to go through this lesson and get the meaning. As far as I have explained to you, still you have something to understand. I request you to go through the chapter and try to understand. Thank you very much for listening.